America's with him. Hello, everyone. I'm François Picard. Welcome to a special edition of the France 24 debate from Washington, D.C., a stone's throw away across the street from where the 45th President of the United States will be sleeping come January. The one-man band that is Donald J. Trump not only won, but won big. We're going to be asking why. And we're also going to be talking about the gracious acceptance speech that we saw at 3 in the morning local time. How will that jibe with all the vitriol we've witnessed over the past 17 months? Is it rage that you can believe in? With us to talk about it, he is senior advisor. Now, I got to say this before I say hello to the guests. Both guests have the word Eurasia in their group, but they're very different, okay? David Gordon is senior advisor to the risk consultants, the Eurasia group, former diplomat, senior advisor to Condoleezza Rice when she was Secretary of State. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here, François.
And thanks to Ralph Winnie, who was a delegate for Donald Trump from Hawaii.
That's correct, yes.
And
born and raised.
Director of the China program at the Eurasia Center, which is a business group that brings together businessmen from Central Asia, Russia, China, and the United States.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being with us.
Glad to be here.
We talked about rage you can't believe in. I gotta say, Ra, when I looked at Trump making his speech and standing behind him is Mike Pence, whose values are very different from those of Donald Trump. I just was wondering, what does Donald Trump stand for, and will he be listening? Up to now, he hasn't needed to listen to anyone, not even to the Republican Party. Is he going to be able to listen to people when he becomes president?
Certainly, he's going to be listening to people. He wants to bring America together. He wants to heal the division.
Is there any proof that he's capable of it?
Absolutely. He's going to be working with top quality people. You look at who he's going to be appointing into this administration.
What kind of person will he be appointing? We have no idea.
Well, we got Steve Mnuchin. We have Rudy Giuliani, we have Newt Gingrich, we have Ben Carson, all capable politicians, capable of working to make America great again.
So will it be because we saw when he went to the Rust Belt states, protectionist Trump, and then when in other places he was free trade Trump? Which Trump?
Well, he wants fair trade. That's the key. And the people in the Midwest have been hard hit by these global trade deals that have not benefited the United States. And this is the problem. We have elites that think that they're passing laws that are benefiting the country, but they're really hurting the American people. And Trump's point is we want to make America great. We want to have fair trade that will bring jobs back into this country.
All right, we're going to talk about that point, trade, in a minute, but I want to, Ralph Winnie, touching on a crucial point, which is this rage against the elites, the rage against Washington. Before I ask you what kind of president Donald Trump will be, tell us what you thought when you saw the vote. Were you surprised?
So I was shocked, but not fully surprised. I think that basically that Donald Trump succeeded dramatically in the last 2 or 3 weeks of the campaign in taking the attention off of himself and turning it to Hillary Clinton. And I think that...
What does that say, a campaign where the one who doesn't have the attention is the one who gets the votes?
Well, but this campaign from the very beginning was about who was going to win the negativity fight in terms of making the other look the worst. And it looked for a very long time as if Secretary Clinton was winning that fight. But I think in the last few weeks, Mr. Trump got extremely disciplined.
Are you sure it's the last few weeks? We saw a record turnout in the primaries. People were energized to come. Hillary Clinton needed the Obamas and Bruce Springsteen and Jay-Z at her rallies. He was the draw, Donald Trump.
So there's no question that the Trump core electorate was much more enthusiastic about him than the Hillary Clinton core electorate was about her. But what he did in the last few weeks was take this swing segment of the electorate, in particular traditional Republican voters, but middle-class voters who were tempted to vote for Clinton or to stay home because of Trump's style and temperament. And he turned that.
So you're saying it's about personalities. It isn't, as Ralph was saying, about punishing Washington.
No. I definitely think for the core Trump supporters, and that's not a small number of people, it's a serious number of people, that it definitely is a rage against Washington. So I agree with that, but I think what turned the election actually wasn't that. What turned the election was Trump really getting on message, and then Hillary Clinton being thrown way off balance by FBI Director Comey's accusations of a little
An interesting story. One of our
than a week ago.
clients runs union elections throughout the country. About 8 months ago, I asked him who he thought would win. Hillary Clinton, hands down. As he started running the union elections, about 3 months ago, he was worried. He said, our rank and file don't relate to Hillary. She's talking about issues that are hurting them. They don't understand why global trade is important. And she's not speaking to their heart. She doesn't understand, she cannot relate to them. And they see her on stage with Beyonce, with Katy Perry, with Jay-Z, and they're like, she's part of the elite. She doesn't understand, she doesn't connect with us, she doesn't understand what we're feeling. Trump, as I would say, is a blue-collar billionaire. And he relates to people. That's why.
But he's
and
never.
he's connecting with the Reagan Democrats who have come.
But he's never had to listen to anyone. He's been the boss. He
he's
had
had
his,
to
he
win
had his
the
dad's
election.
money, and then to a certain point, they took away his Twitter account at one point even. So, I mean, he's somebody who never had to listen to anyone. How's he going to do it?
Well, he is listening. I mean, he's listening to what the voters want. He's going to work on bringing everyone together. You heard his speech. He's going to work with all nations. And he wants to heal this divisive country. I mean, he was part of the elite, and he sees how...
He still is. Let's be serious.
Well,
Do you see any evidence...
He's going to have to represent everybody.
Do you see any evidence of Donald Trump, the listener?
Yeah, so I think he's not been a great listener, but I do see that in the last couple of weeks he showed a discipline, and then just even in the last 24 hours with his very gracious acceptance speech and just several comments that he's made to the media today, I think he will do this reaching out. Whether he's going to succeed is a different issue.
Because up to now, he hasn't even needed the Republican Party.
Exactly. He ran against the party, and he's a businessman, but he's never really run a big business organization. He was that real estate. The Trump organization obviously is a big organization, but real estate it's not giant in terms of numbers of people employed and complex organizational structures. So he's never done anything like that, and we've never ever had a president like this. So I do think that he has a big challenge. Will he be able to engage elements of the Republican Party that had been skeptical towards him, but frankly, he's going to need to govern effectively? I think that's question number one, and it involves going beyond the people with whom he's been working with on the campaign. It involves engaging people, who've worked in government. I mean, I love Newt Gingrich. He's a very, very brilliant man, but he did not have a successful stint as Speaker of the House, and he's been, I think, very impulsive, increasingly impulsive. I don't think that's the kind of person that Trump should turn to. I would think somebody like Steve Hadley, the former National Security Advisor, he would be a great choice for Secretary of State. Or somebody like Senator Corker, Chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Very strong choice as Secretary of State.
All right, your clients, how nervous are they? We saw the markets were jittery. How much uncertainty is there?
I think there's a lot of uncertainty out here. So a couple of things that...
How worried should we be?
Yeah. So in my view, I think there's a long road to reassuring the markets. That Trump has been a populist figure for a very long time. He continues to have those views. The markets are very uncomfortable with this. I think what you're likely to look at is a combination of a pretty big tax cut and a serious program of infrastructure spending to get the economy moving, and these are positive. But what's the story that he's going to tell?
Spending, infrastructure spending.
Areas,
so this isn't a Republican agenda.
One of the
is it?
areas he's going to.
Do you think he's going to do infrastructure spending?
I think he's going to do some sort of infrastructure program.
So he sounds like a Democrat, not a Republican.
Well, he would say he's a man of the people, that he is working to promote jobs for America.
And will Republicans be comfortable with this? The ones who say let's not have much government, they should just deliver the mail and protect the border.
Well, that's going to be the interesting challenge, is how he's going to work with the Republican.
Can he do it?
I think he can do it. One of the areas he's going to focus on is improving the quality of life for the people in the inner cities, an economic redevelopment plan. And I think it'll be very important to see how that is put together. That was one of the issues that he raised in the campaign, especially with the African American voters.
And what about the two key issues, which are Obamacare?
Right.
He's promised to roll it back and replace it by something better within 100 days, and trade. First on Obamacare, tell me.
More state involvement and loosening the restrictions so people can buy across state lines. As far as trade...
So they won't dismantle it entirely?
Perhaps not. I mean, they've got the Medicaid issue that they have to resolve as well. But the whole apparatus of Obamacare, because the premiums are going through the roof, people want to see that reformed.
All right, so there'll still be universal health care coverage, but it'll be different. So this
not really universal health care.
I'm not sure there will be.
No,
but
no universal health. It will not pass.
But they're not going to take an axe to the responsibilities of government the way Ronald Reagan did when he came to the White House.
So Trump is much less inherently anti-government as a philosophy. He's anti-government as we see it. But he is of the view, and we will see, that will be his test, that he can do better. And I hope that he can, and I wish him well, because I think the country has a big stake in Trump's success.
And on the issue of trade,
yes.
The unwinding, we've seen it happen from the European side of the free trade agreement between the United States and Europe called TTIP. Is there going to be? Is that just the end of it when we hear him talking about tariffs against China and this sort of thing?
Everything is negotiable.
So I do believe that Trump will have an easier time restarting a negotiation with the Europeans than he will with the Asians. That TTIP was not popular in Europe. TPP, much criticized in the campaign, very popular in Asia. So it's not going to be easy for him to go out and renegotiate TPP with the Asians. But TTIP, he can, and it will be interesting. I think there's a possibility here to do a trilateral that includes both the EU and the UK as a way to minimize the negative impact of Brexit on Europe at the same time.
Do you agree with that? There'll be this sort of alliance, this new special relationship between
not necessarily
post-Brexit Britain and the United States when it comes to things like trade?
It's all going to boil down to how are jobs created in this country. Is it going to benefit the American people? And he's going to look seriously at what kind of alliances he's going to have with Europe and Asia to make sure that the deals that are put into effect benefit the American people, that it creates
And
jobs.
Are your Chinese partners worried? Do they share the same worries as David Gordon?
The Chinese want to continue to do business in the U.S. They want to get their money out of China, and they're looking at vehicles for that, and to look at investments and trade in the U.S.
This stuff about tariffs and everything, was that just campaign rhetoric?
I think everything is negotiable. I mean, he wants to bring the Chinese to the table and ensure that everyone, both China and the U.S., are going to benefit. It's been a one-sided policy, and I think that the issue with the Chinese is he's come out and said they're wonderful people, You know, he doesn't, and they have people in place that know how to negotiate trade deals. Our people are at a disadvantage. And you've got to have the right people in place that have done this, that have the expertise, and they know how to go toe-to-toe with the Chinese to benefit the U.S., not necessarily be adverse to China.
So the trouble here is that we don't have an agreement with China. We never have. What we had hoped to do in the TPP was set up a structure that would include market-driven principles and institutions in Asia, that China wouldn't be part of at the beginning but could come into later. Yes. So I think it's going to be very hard doing a trade deal with China. China right now is looking at very difficult times domestically. Their currency is weakening. I see a lot of tension and conflict coming up.
And
I think it's the biggest danger.
Just one final
there.
question, because we're out of time. Ralph Winnie, all those people who've tapped into his message about rage, about how America isn't so great anymore, are they bound to be disappointed?
No, I think they're going to be inspired by his presidency.
Okay.
And everyone in America is going to come together, and people's livelihood will be improved.
All right, the glass more than half full with Ralph Winnie. Many thanks. I want to thank David Gordon as well. Stay with us. We're going to have more coming up in the France 24 debate as we return to Washington, D.C. for a look at how President Trump will be on the world stage.